sub, when you heard Sasuke getting up out of the ground, right? When he was first arising out of that rock, what you'll hear is a lot of exasperation. You're hearing the pain in his voice. You're hearing the anger, the storied experiences between Sasuke and Naruto in his voice. Sasuke and Naruto have fought in this type of way, head to head, multiple times throughout the season. I mean, multiple times throughout the show. And so this is a culmination of those fights. This is like the end of Shippuden. This is where it's all like this sort of deciding factor of whose vision for the village and what happens next will reign supreme, whose ideals are stronger. What you're wanting this to feel or be is a culmination of all of those things put into one and into a fight, culminating into a clash between ideals, night and day, and you're supposed to hear that within the voice. And so as you'll hear him coming out of the rocks, you'll hear him this sort of whisper. The second time he says over, it's barely heard. He says over. Watch the second time he says over. Right? Listen. He just said it. It's almost like this sort of strained sound as he's sort of gathering himself to really steel his resolve and then continue the fight. And what that does and why that's different than the dub is the dub sort of keeps this sort of like a volume generality. I don't know how to really put it. It keeps this sort of level tone and volume throughout the entirety of the performance. He doesn't go to the lowest low of the note. He doesn't sound like he's strained and he's exhausted from having fought multiple battles and using all of his chakra, which is essentially their life force. So you're meant to have these painstaking fights and situations that really show the strain in your bodies, right? And the dub does not do the best job at showing that. It doesn't by the voice actor's role does not tell you exactly that Sasuke is as tired as he should be. But the voice of the sub does. It starts really low. And as I said before, about 0 to 100. When you're able to have the really, really low points and get as close to 0 as possible, which is really strained, really quiet, that lower range is for the more intimate notes. It's where you're going to feel out some of those more somber moods, melancholic moods, those strained moods, and so on. And the higher notes, obviously, are where you're trying to convey rage, anger, vast excitement, you name it, right? And so when he's hitting those low notes and he's getting out of the ground, it's him not just being angry, it's him being tired, it's him being mentally drained, right? And so when you hear that small note and then he builds, and then he builds, and then he builds to that highest note about let me cut you down already in the sub, you can really appreciate the low all the way to the high. It's a much larger spectrum. Being able to hit that low to that high really gives you the range and variety and cinematic nature that you need to really pull in all of this ambiance and emotion together. Within the dub, it's not that his tone was bad. It's just that maybe they didn't allow him to. Maybe they're just more focused on trying to enunciate the words better. But he doesn't go into the trenches with his voice as the sub artist did.